Hey, thought I'd chat a little bit about something I'm working on. Something I want to do more of with my banjo is play further up the neck, get more use out of this part of the neck. It's really helpful when you have other musicians that you're jamming with, and if you're playing an E minor and you're playing in that mid-tone area, and you have a guitar player and he's playing the same area, the root E minor chord on a guitar, you're going to drown each other out. So if you're playing on a banjo, you might want to do a little bit of rhythm in the background, and if you can play further up the neck, you can do some rhythm and kind of pop out, like offset from the tone that they're playing, or vice versa. If they're playing further up the neck, you can play at more at the root of the neck. So I was trying to take that idea a little further to some chord progressions that I like to play. In particular, the one I'm going to play a chord progression here. So I'm going to play an E minor. You can look all these chords up online, but I'll review them real quick here for you. So I got that E minor, which is your it's your first string, second fret, and your fourth string, second fret, and everything else is open. And then I like to play a B7. This one's a little tricky here. So it's going to be on that first string on your fourth fret, skip the second string, and then on your third string, second fret, fourth string, first fret. It's the same as playing a B7 over here. But it's got a little bit deeper, and you're playing it at the root, which gives you a little more play with the hammer-ons. So you got your E minor and your B7. And then I'll do an A7, which is just an A with, on the first string I'll go up 3 steps. So that's an A7. And then I'll go C. A C is like your E minor, except you're taking the pointer finger and you're going to put it on the second string, first fret. So you still got your ring finger on the first string, second fret, and middle finger on the fourth string, second fret. So E minor, B7, E minor, A7 to C. And I'll play that through real quick. Now if I want to play that chord progression further up the neck, it's not as easy for me. It's something I'm still working on, but I'm going to share with you what I got so far. So one thing I realized is if you know your D minor pattern, which is, it's basically you're fretting all the strings on the third fret, except for that third string goes to the second fret. So kind of like an upside down A minor. And if I go up a whole step, so half step, that makes a whole step, and I go, that's an E minor. Sounds the same if I'm playing the E minor here, except a little bit higher in tone. And instead of playing the B7 here, I can just play a B bar chord, which is all the strings on the fourth fret, and then I take that extra finger on the first fret and I go up 2 half steps. Or sorry, 1, yeah. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 3 half steps. So that's a B7, which is the same as your B7 here. Might be even easier to play. So you got your E minor, B7, And then your A, you're going to bar at this where the C chord would be, which is your 5th fret, all the strings, and you're going to, on the 3rd string, you're going to play the 1st fret up from the bar, and on the 4th string you're going to play the 2nd fret up from the bar. That's an A7, which is the same as what I was doing over here. And then your C, that's a freebie. You just lift up those other fingers and play the bar at the 5th fret. And the E minor. So, before I was playing it like this. Now I can play it up here. As you can tell, I still need work on that. I say the best way to learn is to try to teach people what you're learning. Now, there's a couple challenges with playing up the neck. The first challenge is you don't get that free open chord that you can do a lot of hammer on. So with the E minor at the root, I can do just some really crazy hammer-ons and pull-offs. And your B7, same thing. But I can't really do that up here when I'm doing the E minor. More particularly, I can't really do that here because my fingers are kind of used up. Can't really lift up. I mean, I can, but it's not quite the same. So there's two solutions that I've seen people doing, and I'm working on that myself still, is you've got the drop thumb that gives you a little extra melody. It breaks up your half quarter notes, or gives you those on the 8th note, or the and of the beat. You can do a drop thumb. I really struggle with the drop thumb, especially the deliberateness of the sound when I'm bringing that thumb down and I want a nice clean strike of that 2nd string. But a lot of the frailing and clawhammer players out there who really like the melodic drop thumb, they build their melodies almost entirely off of the drop thumb, and they kind of get a feel for or memorize the melody. You can basically get all those notes that you would get with a hammer-on and a pull-off. I'm working on it. It's another set of tools in the belt, but it's not as easy or accessible as a hammer-on and pull-off would be. So the other solution that I've seen, and I kind of, this is one I stumbled on. I'm sure other folks knew this already, but I'm slow, so it took me this long to stumble on it. If I take my capo and I put it on the 2nd fret, it really lets me treat my E minor like it's a D minor. Remember, if I play that D minor up here, it's like you're fretting, you know, the 3rd fret, except for that 3rd string, you're going down a half step. And because the banjo's tuned, that 4th string is tuned to a D, if I just lift that 4th string up and I'm playing the open string, it's still a D minor. So that gives me a nice little hammer-on. Because that open G chord plays really well with that D minor. Because the D minor and the G are related in the magical world of scales. Now if I take this capo and I put it where the A major would be, and I play that E minor, and there I'll do the drop thumb with the B. So it sounds different, and it lends to different faked melodies. I call them fake melodies because it's not really a memorized melodic pattern. It's really just a feel with just patterns of hammer-ons and pull-ups. It gives a bit of a different flavor, and of course having the capo at the A major, it changes the mode a little bit if you play the different, like instead of going up a whole step, I was going up a half step when I was doing that E minor. If it was open, I would. That's music theory. I'm not so good at that, but the chords are there, and there's a lot of. It gives you some extra room to work. Instead of doing the B7, you can just do a B, give it a different flavor, and instead of that A7, you could do an A minor to the C. And that gives you some room to go in those other modes. Anyway, so that's how I've been trying to solve the problem of working up the neck. I can either use a capo, or I can play the full chords with some drop thumb, or I can do some vamping. And that sounds nice if you're riffing with a guitar player who's doing more of the chords in the other position. So let me know what you think, how you solved this problem. All right, thanks.